As Paula Deen tries to dig herself out of the frying pan that has burnt her career, my next guest says there are lessons to learn from Deen's fall from grace that apply to everyone. Lucinda Cross is a visibility coach and platform strategist specializing in supporting women and leveraging and monetizing their message. She is also the author of the book Road to Redemption, which is a life story of how she went from being an 18-year-old freshman in college to making a life-altering decision that resulted in serving a 4.5-year sentence in prison, federal prison. Lucinda has since then made it her life mission to inspire, encourage, and uplift women to build businesses from their message and experience. Lucinda, I am so very honored to have you here today.
I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much for coming. I do want to, before we talk about Paula Deen, I do want you to share a little bit about your personal story.
Sure, absolutely. So, as a young student, college student, funds are rough. You know, you live on ramen noodles.
Sure.
So I was going to a private college, and yes, I did make a life-altering decision. I decided to take an invitation to travel to third world countries carrying drugs. At that time, I had no idea. I didn't ask any questions. I just wanted to, I've seen the rainbow.
You wanted the money.
I wanted the money. And so for $10,000 for an 18-year-old, that was something that was extremely large. I've never even heard or seen that kind of money before. And so I've made several trips in my first and second semester in school until the second semester when the ride was over. Traveled to Thailand, Cambodia, Africa, Japan, and, you know, just by the grace of God was able to get arrested at home and not in one of those third world countries. And that landed me 4.5 years instead of going to school to become either, I was shuffling between becoming a lawyer or a nurse, go figure. Okay. I was nursing myself and defending myself behind bars for 4.5 years. To come out.
There are many people that don't come back from something like that. And we are seeing Paula Deen, who, as you say, there are lessons for all of us to learn, who doesn't look like she's coming back, or at least coming back very well. Where do you begin with someone like her who is clearly very high profile and also has a financial safety net that most of us don't have? But where do you begin with someone who has fallen so far down low and get them to take that next step? That step up.
So the next step, I mean, at this point, she's so deep into everything. Her reputation is marred. Her brand is, you know, she's self-destructed her brand. But like I said, there's lessons to learn. Vanessa Williams was able to rise from her past. So understand that the past will creep up. Those are past feelings, past emotions, the way her beliefs have surfaced, and they've been surfacing, but now it's kind of blown up in her face. And there's something that we can all learn from our past and how we project that in our own brands and even in our business models. So for her, the first step now is to just let everything simmer down completely. Vanessa Williams, Jesse Jackson, Bill Clinton, we've seen it. We've seen it all. We've seen how they self-destructed their brand, their image, and how they were able to rise back up slowly. And so I do believe that she still will be able to rise because, yes, she's gifted and talented and she's built a great empire. She said some things that offended a lot of people. Yeah.
With regards to Bill Clinton and Paula Deen, there's actually something of a connection with these two incidents because Monica Lewinsky, the woman who was at the center of the downfall of Bill Clinton, hired the same crisis management individual and firm, Judy Smith. And that is the same person that Paula Deen has hired to try and get herself out of this. And for our audience, I should probably point out that Judy Smith is actually the real life person that the show Scandal, Kerry Washington's character, is based on. But with regards to Paula Deen, she has millions of dollars on the line, and we are seeing the sponsors and the companies, you know, sever ties or certainly distance themselves super quickly. You talk about simmering down. She can't really afford to simmer down when you've got these many companies saying, "I don't want to have anything to do with you."
See, the thing she needs to understand and realize, and maybe this is something that her crisis management team and even PR, which is with simmering down, will allow her to reconnect. There was a huge disconnect, and that's the reason why the language she used, the behavior that she used was there because she disconnected with her audience, with the African American race, period. And so I do think if she's able to simmer down and they're able to kind of put some smoke on it, then she's able to reconnect and learn how to reconnect back with her audience. And I think she lost that connection. And honestly, I don't think she had it because she didn't embrace her own past of whatever she's seen back in the days as she used.
So you're saying that the fact is you can only, I guess, brand yourself a certain way if internally you are authentic with who you are.
Absolutely.
Like you can't spin crazy, right? I mean, if you really have these deep-rooted feelings and that's how you really feel, are you saying there's no amount of branding that can get you out of that?
Well, here's the thing, even with my own situation, before I started to be seen on TV, I had a fear of being on television and even on radio because I said, here I am talking to women, telling them to speak their truth and stand in their power. But I was afraid when I come off the scene that someone will show a mugshot or something like that. So embracing my own past and pulling up and digging up my own skeletons allowed me to speak my truth and stand in my own power as a brand and as a woman, so that the women that I consult and connect with can also receive that message well as at the same time.
We've already seen at least one high-profile person come to Deen's aid, and that's Reverend Jesse Jackson, who says that she shouldn't be vilified.
Of course he would. Of course he would.
Why? Because that's his brand? Yeah. Is that what you're saying?
Because he had his own, love child situation, and it was a big uproar, and then it simmered down as well, and he was able to reconnect with his audience. But
I'm curious how you think the apology should have been handled, or if there should have been an apology at all. I mean, as I think all of us, anybody can make a mistake. And then if you make a mistake, what should be your immediate next step?
So communication. So the apology, definitely apology is needed. And I think she needed to be coached on how to apologize, maybe even scripted, because it's just simply not there for her. And you can see that on the YouTube. It's just simply not there for her. She's not saying sorry, there's a but. And the but should not be in the apology. So I do think that the first step is maybe consulting someone. How do I apologize when I've made such a drastic, damage? She needs damage control.
Yeah, and Lucinda, I think it's important to point out that there's a difference between being embarrassed,
yes,
damaged, or destroyed. There's a few names that come to mind that have been able to make comebacks, whether it's Tiger Woods, Kobe Bryant, Martha Stewart,
yes,
Anthony Weiner, who's up 5 points in the New York City mayoral race, Britney Spears, Elliot Spitzer, and Mark Sanford, who infamously was in Argentina when he said he was in the Appalachian Mountains. But we're also living in a society where kind of everybody has a brand, right? We're all saying that we've got a brand.
Right.
Okay? So if everyone has a brand, that means everything you do is essentially affecting it.
Yes, everything. Your clothes, your smell, the perfume we wear is part of our brand. The things we say, our beliefs, our values, that's all part of our brand. And a lot of people forget that. It's not just your product. People buy into the people behind it. They buy into the relationship. And once you can sell that relationship, then people will buy anything. So they bought into Paula Deen. They bought into the Southern hospitality. They bought into Jesse Jackson. They bought into the African-American male with the family at home. And, so we buy into the people and the personality and everything that comes with that. And it's full circle. You can't break it apart. It comes together.
Sonia, did you hear that? You are your brand.
I know.
You are your brand.
Daunting.
We've bought into Picky, and we are buying into you as well.
Exactly. I mean, it's daunting, but at the same time, when you decide to start something and take on a company, it's kind of comes with the territory. It's the good and the bad is that you are in the public eye. People are watching what you do, and you are ultimately your own brand.
Unless you have ambassadors.
That's true.
That's when you can say, listen, I want to keep my stuff private. I don't need everybody to know what I do, how I pray, what I say. I'll have my ambassadors who's clean and polished. You just keep
and just hope they're not recording when you're having a private conversation.
Exactly.
All right?
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Lucinda Cross,
so much.
brand strategist and author of the book Road to Redemption.
Thank you.
And you are watching Our Take.